This week, we saw the publication of a very interesting report by the Institute of Fiscal Studies. Now, it hasn't been widely reported on the news, but I think it's worth knowing about, so I'm going to tell you about it instead. It's important to understand the IFS, the Institute of Fiscal Studies, are an independent research institute. So this study hasn't been commissioned by a pension provider or anyone with a vested interest. It was actually funded by the UK's Economic and Social Research Council. This report says that people in the UK are losing thousands of pounds every year by not transferring old pensions to newer contracts with lower charges. Now, we come across this a lot when we're taking on new clients. We find people who have benefits in old workplace schemes or people who contracted out of SERPs or the state second pension back in the day, and they haven't looked at these old schemes in years. When we analyse the contracts and we do a whole of market comparison, the difference between what people have and what they could have sometimes can be quite shocking. Now, this independent report found that the average annual fee on deferred pensions that were taken out in the 1990s is 1.1% per year. In the 2000s, this drops to an average of 0.9% and is only 0.8% on pensions taken out between 2010 and 2020. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but it's another example of what seems like a small difference having a massive impact over the longer term. Let's look at a quick example. Let's imagine someone who's currently aged 50, planning for retirement at their state pension age of 67. Let's assume they've got £50,000 in their pension and it's going to grow at 5% a year before charges. Bear in mind, as always, investment returns are not guaranteed. Fund values can go down as well as up. A contract with an annual charge of 1.1%, 90s style, would give them a fund of £95,815 at state pension age. A contract identical in every way, but with an annual charge of 0.8%, 2010 style, would give them a fund at state pension age of £100,628. That is a massive difference, an extra £5,000 on a fund that was only worth £50,000 in the first place. That's a full 10% of additional growth just because they reviewed the contract when they were 50. Now, please don't think I'm saying that everyone with an old pension contract should automatically transfer it to a new one. Categorically, I am not. What I am saying is you should at least take a look. Put yourself in an informed position. Now, not all older pension contracts are more expensive. According to this IFS report, 1 in 5 pensions started in 2013 had an annual charge of more than 0.75%, compared to 8 out of every 9 back in 1993. Now, while that's a stark contrast, it does show us that 1 in 9 pensions back in the day was fairly low cost. And the reverse is also true. Not every modern pension offers good value. This is especially prevalent with some of these restricted advice firms. If your advisor isn't independent, they're a sales rep. Don't forget that. But also, there's more to this equation than just costs. For example, it's far more common in older contracts to come across guarantees. Guaranteed growth rates, guaranteed annuity rates, guaranteed minimum pensions. These are valuable benefits. They should not be given up lightly. On the other hand, a lot of older contracts don't offer things like flexible access, and the death benefits can be far more restrictive. I heard a story recently from a local solicitor where a widow was forced to receive the entirety of her late husband's pension fund as a single lump sum, which she didn't especially want, and which increased the inheritance tax liability on her estate by hundreds of thousands of pounds. If only her husband had reviewed his pension before he died, this could have been avoided so easily. So what all of this highlights more than anything is the importance of financial planning. Do you know what the charges are on all of your pensions? Do you know if you've got any guarantees? And if so, what do they do? Do you know what benefits would be paid out if you died tomorrow and who they'd be paid to? If you can't answer yes to all of those questions, take independent advice, put yourself in an informed position and plan ahead.